He didn't comment on your remark. He just tilted his head and looked at your wings. He laughed loudly after hearing that, throwing his head back as he did. Aha! Oh, you've got a real bite on ya. He smirked, putting one of his hands on his hip while doing. He calmed down after a moment. His smile turned into a softer one as he gave you a nostalgic look. Damn, I've missed you, you know that? He snorted quietly, rolling his eyes with a slight chuckle. Ha! Of course that's what you thought. Never had that much faith in me, huh? His laughter abruptly ended when you said that. He tensed up and his eyes widened with shock. He was silent for a few seconds. You're joking, right? He was shocked, staying quiet as he processed this information. After a bit, he let out a long sigh, looking away and bringing up a hand to pinch the bridge of his nose. So you just thought I died, huh? Without even seeing the body? He just huffed as he put his hand down, crossing his arms with a glare. Do you really think that's irrefutable evidence that I was dead? His arms dropped to his sides. He face-palmed himself. He seemed slightly embarrassed, his face turning flush for a moment. Damn, can't believe you didn't at least remember that. Yeah, I know that. You keep repeating it. He responded somewhat dryly as if annoyed. He then realized something and raised an eyebrow. But if you have short-term memory loss, how did you remember me? He stayed quiet for a moment before rolling his eyes again. He face-palmed again, shaking his head in annoyance as he did. Ugh, you're a real piece of work, you know that. He gave you a tired look. Damn, you haven't changed a bit, have you? He looked at you, raising an eyebrow. He gave you an unimpressed look. You seriously almost died just to be brainwashed by a cult. He raised an eyebrow once again, crossing his arms as he gave you a curious look. He seemed to pay more attention after hearing this, taking a seat in front of you and gesturing for you to give an explanation. Wait, what? Hold on now, you almost died? How'd that happen? Ugh, of course. It's always something related to fighting. What happened? He leaned back, bringing the back of his hands to rest on the ground behind him, holding him up. Despite his relaxed manner, he seemed to be listening intently. He was quiet for a while, then chuckled. He looked down and shook his head slightly. And let me guess, the revival worked? How nice, he said sarcastically, looking back up at you with a smirk. So, you had a literal revival, and what do you do? Join a cult. He just chuckled again. He shook his head as he tilted it to the side slightly. Ever thought of just staying alive in the first place? Well, maybe don't blow yourself up, he said in a taunting manner with a cheeky grin on his face. Damn, who the hell was he? The smirk on the star-themed boy quickly disappeared as he got a He was quiet for a moment, thinking about it. He had a sort of angry expression on his face as he did. Damn, that's quite the predicament. So this mystery man blew you up, and an Illumina member happened to be nearby to revive you. He started speaking in a matter-of-fact tone, but then he chuckled again. It's almost like fate just wanted you to join the Illumina cult or something. Ah, and you listened to their orders like a good little boy, eh? He was in a teasing manner, a smirk appearing on his face once again. Ah, lovely, he said sarcastically. He paused as he thought about what you said. So he revived you, and then told you to go cut the throats of non-cult members. And your first thought was, sure, sounds good? Yeah, I know. Die or join the cult. But the guy asked you to kill non-believers, and you agreed to that? That easy. He seemed more serious when he asked that. He went silent when you spoke, looking a bit taken back. What? You... you learned all that after you joined? Why the hell not? He crossed his arms and gave you a puzzled look. He tried not to sound annoyed, though a subtle tone of irritation could be heard in his voice. Well, damn, sounds like you really got yourself into a big mess, huh? He said in a mocking manner once again, looking at you with a cheeky grin. Ah, yes, the religion of peace. He gave you a look, almost a look of disbelief. The religion of peace, and they are making you murder people. He rolled his eyes again with a slight snort. Of course, the reason for murder is that they suck. And yet you still decided to join them? He paused for a few seconds, before he just began to silently laugh to himself. He leaned his head back and laughed loudly, one of his hands going to his forehead as he did. Yeah, you said that, he said in a somewhat mocking manner as he calmed down from his brief laughter. What would happen if you left anyway? It's not like a bunch of cultists would just kill you if you decided to leave, right? What's Jahannam? His smile was slowly disappearing. He was starting to look concerned about what you were saying. He went silent for a moment, taking it all in. He looked completely stunned, dumbfounded even. He couldn't believe what you were saying. They'd send you to hell if you left? He was quiet for a moment before he gave you another look of disbelief. Wait, so if you left the cult, you'd go to hell? They'd actually send you to hell? Like, literal hell? He was once again quiet, looking dumbfounded. And this religion is the religion of peace? This cult that sends bad people to literal hell is a religion of peace? Every religion sends people to hell? He gave you a look of disbelief, raising an eyebrow as he did. He seemed genuinely surprised by what you just said. It really sounded like an exaggeration at that point. He stayed quiet for a moment, before sighing deeply. He pinched the bridge of his nose in annoyance and shook his head. Yes, I know. But it's just so damn ironic. You join a cult because they claim to be peaceful, and what happens? They make you While he listened, he slowly began to look more and more baffled. That's, what the hell? He just sat there in disbelief for a few seconds. He was speechless. Then he spoke up again. What the hell are you talking about? They think your damn hand will get pregnant. He sat there for a few more seconds, still in disbelief. He then began to chuckle a bit. Wait, hold on. You're telling me you actually believe all that?
Two dots.
I've been told that there have been a lot of intelligent people throughout history who have believed in God. That's true. While you ponder the significance of that, I'd like you to consider Marcus. This is Marcus, and he's a very intelligent guy. He heard a pretty ridiculous claim from an anonymous source. He immediately didn't believe it and went about his day without giving it further thought. Later, Marcus heard a friendly acquaintance make the ridiculous Marcus will ask himself why the ridiculous claim needs so many dirty tricks to be believed.
He looked at you with a fake hurt expression, a hand going to his chest as he feigned offense to your words. He then immediately dropped the act and laughed again, that cheeky grin appearing on his face again. Ah, shut up! He was silent for a while. As he continued to listen, he grew more concerned. His expression slowly became more and more serious. He eventually started to look worried. Damn, you really did get yourself in some deep crap. He was silent as you spoke. He had a more serious look on his face now as he listened to you. He took in every single word that you said intently. After a few moments, he gave a slight nod. It sounds like you are describing some sort of... He paused for a second, trying to pick his words carefully. Brainwashing. If not brainwashing, it's certainly indoctrination. He looked away for a moment, his expression becoming more serious. And from the sound of it, you've been pretty thoroughly indoctrinated from a young age, huh? He looked back at you, a frown appearing on his face as your words. He stayed silent for a bit, thinking about something. You mean you? You were born into the cult? He was quiet for a bit, thinking about what you said. Free will. So you didn't exactly choose to follow them. They... A look of shock appeared on his face and he was speechless for a moment, before he shook his head and responded. That bastard just left you? After saying that? He rolled his eyes and raised an eyebrow. He's always watching? Chich, I really hope he isn't. Listening in on this conversation. He looked intrigued as you said that. An amused smile appeared on his face once again. Ah, really? Your uncle hates him? What's his deal? He chuckled a bit. Oh, really? So now I definitely want to know the full story. Don't worry, I'll believe you, even if it sounds like a bunch of bullshit. Ah, so they are both gods then? Two gods that hate each other's guts. He thought for a moment before
Quick question for you. If you're an atheist, why do you not believe in God? And if you don't believe in God because you say the book is written by man, why do you believe in evolution? Because that was also made up by a guy, I think. Quick question for you. If you're an atheist, why do you not believe in God? And if you don't believe in God because you say the book is written by man, why do you believe in evolution? Because that was also made up by a guy, I think. Quick question for you. If you're an atheist, why do you not believe in God? And if you don't believe in God,
How atheists thinks world was created.
Okay, so you believe that anybody who's not in the correct religion is going to burn in hell?
So you believe that Earth just created itself, it came out of nowhere, and all these people who are following the religions, 6 billion people around the world, they're just believing in nothing?
Okay, so you believe that anybody who's not in the correct religion is going to burn in hell?
So you believe that Earth just created itself, it came out of nowhere, and all these people who are following the religions, 6 billion people around the world, they're just believing in nothing?
Okay, so you believe that anybody who's not in the correct religion is going to burn in hell?
So you believe that
Here are 5 religious arguments that just never work on atheists. Number 1, you say you don't believe in God because you want to sin. To an atheist, that's like saying that not believing the police exists frees you up to do crime. It doesn't, and that's not why atheists don't believe in God. Number 2, if you're wrong, you'll burn in hell. The majority of atheists find Pascal's wager to be incredibly flawed for many reasons, including that it's not honest to believe just out of self-preservation. Number 3, the universe couldn't have just come out of nowhere. To an atheist, if a God can exist without being created, so can the universe. Number 4, the Bible, Quran, Torah, Sutras say
If
it's
he's
true.
the god of darkness
This is
and the
just
god of
circular
curses,
logic to an
can he,
atheist who
cast
says the holy
curses?
books are
He
true.
curses people
Number
and
5,
stuff
your morals
sometimes.
come from religion whether you believe in it or not. Most atheists would say that their morals come from their empathy and from society's ethics, and the latter evolve constantly. Say
If
it's
he's
true.
the god of darkness
This is
and
just
the god of
circular
curses,
logic.
he chuckled a bit when you mentioned that. How could I forget? Yeah, I remember that time. He was pissed off at the time, huh? He chuckled at first when you said that, but he quickly stopped, a frown appearing on his face as he began to look serious again. You, you really do believe that we are just pieces to a game to him then, huh? There's nothing more to us than that. We're just being used. His frown continued to linger on his face as he listened. I agree, he really doesn't deserve this much power. He's just using it as an excuse to play games, and we're just his little game pieces, aren't we? He nodded a bit, agreeing with what you were saying. Yeah, I think you are right. You aren't the only one who's concerned about him. A lot of people I know are wary of him. There's something about him and his whole deal that I'm not fond of. Especially the Illumina cult. I don't trust them at all. I feel like they have got something nasty up their sleeves, or something like that. He nodded at your words, keeping that frown on his face. Well, it is more than a theory for me. I've been suspicious of them ever since I first heard about the cult. They've got some sort of twisted plan going on. I'm calling it now. He was slightly caught off guard by you suddenly mentioning God, but didn't question you on it. It was quiet for a moment before he spoke up again. Marcus, as in Stoicism? The Stoic philosopher? He was quiet, listening intently to what you were telling him. He tilted his head as you continued, trying to think about what you were implying with this story. He was still listening, still contemplating what you were saying. He raised an eyebrow as you restated the first part of the story. Okay? What are you trying to get at with this? He was still quiet. He began to understand what you were getting at. He nodded slightly as you continued to speak. Damn. Again, he was quiet as he listened intently. He had a sort of solemn look on his face as his eyes darted from side to side, taking in what you were saying. He stayed quiet for a couple of seconds, then raised an eyebrow and spoke up. Are you trying to compare your situation to this? He was still listening intently and taking in everything you were saying. This story seemed too familiar to his own. So, even if the ridiculous claim has no actual basis, by just having multiple generations and a whole culture that believes in it, people are pressured into believing as well. He went back to being quiet, letting the story sink in. It was quiet for a few moments before he slowly let out a long sigh. Yeah, okay, I'm getting you now. It's not exactly easy to leave the cult, huh? He was silently listening, taking everything in as the story continued. At one point, he put a hand to the bridge of his nose, pinched it lightly with two of his fingers, as if he were a bit stressed about something. Once you finally Again, it was quiet for a moment as he thought to himself for a moment. He slowly let out a sigh and looked down a bit as he spoke. Damn, that really is a hell of a predicament you're in, huh? He was quiet, giving you a bit of an odd look as you spoke that. I wouldn't really say it's not that big of a deal. You literally get sent to hell if you leave. That seems like a pretty big deal to me. He was quiet again, he thought for a moment before he slowly nodded. Fair point. Still, I feel bad about the situation and all. I mean, you're really stuck, like, deep in this cult, huh? There's really no way for you to get out, is there? He tilted his head in a curious manner at this statement. Huh? Proof of your god? Wait, back up for a second. You met your god? He looked curious and a bit surprised at this claim. Wait, you met God? He was quiet. He slowly nodded as if he were remembering that statement before. Ah, right. I almost. He tilted his head the other way, a slightly dumbfounded smile on his face as he continued to talk to you. So he literally just appeared right after you spawned? He seemed slightly surprised at this and chuckled softly. He was just sort of waiting? At spawn? Did you talk or something? His head was tilted again as he continued to listen intently. Oh, he just told you the story of creation, huh? And free will? Anything else? He quietly chuckled again. His smile slowly faded into a small smirk. Did he literally just tell you that you had free will, and if you screw everything up you go to hell or something like that? He was silent for a few seconds to process what you just said, but he quickly smiled again as he chuckled softly, looking quite amused by this. He just told you, don't scup. There was a pause while he just continued to chuckle before he managed to compose himself and speak again. Damn, he just dropped the story of creation and free will, told you not to f up, and then just left? He tilted his head a bit again, looking curious. You left? Just like after the conversation you had? An amused smile was once again on his face as you said that. You just crawled away. Just like that, huh? He continued to smile and chuckle softly as you spoke. Just had the interaction with God, and then you just scurried away like a little baby. His smile grew wider as he imagined the scene. Cartoonish little running sounds and all. You ran away all cartoonish like, huh? He chuckled a little once again, before he started to speak again, looking more amused. Damn, you're just fascinating. He chuckled again, a big smile on his face. Oh, that old thing? You actually remember that? He went silent for a moment before he began to laugh. He didn't seem very surprised about you mentioning that copy pasta. Oh man, I was bored as hell when I wrote that. He was initially laughing at this, but once you mentioned the part about the vodka bottles, he went quiet for a second, the smile slowly fading from his face. He just stared at you, and he didn't say anything for a moment. He just sat there, his mouth a little open as if he was going to say something, but he was thinking of the actual. He was quiet for a moment, thinking to himself. He looked a mixture of perplexed and surprised, but then he suddenly spoke up again. When did I tell you about this? His eyes suddenly went wide at this statement. He looked absolutely shocked by you just saying that. Wait a sec. He just continued to look extremely surprised to hear you say this, but after that, he went silent for a moment before once again speaking up. Jesus, you're not bullshitting me, are you? You really starting to remember
freezer,
things?
home to all the Blizzard flavors of the past, is opening to bring back salted caramel truffle. Oh, with toffee pieces and choco chunks.
He slowly began to realize what you were saying is true, and he looked shocked. Damn, so now you're remembering more of your past now, huh? Like, from before the cult brainwashed you?
Choco chunks!
He's He just sat there for a few seconds, and there was a look of realization that was slowly spreading on his face. Then he looked curious again as he spoke up. What else do you remember? From before you were brainwashed and all? He suddenly smiled a little when you said that, a sort of fond and proud smile. Ha! Yeah, he was better at handling me than therapist guy ever was. At the mention of his best friend getting killed and the fact that he went insane and murdered people, he immediately went quiet. His expression turned back to a solemn one as he thought about what you just said. He chuckled slightly at you, referring to him as the giant bald marshmallow-looking thing. He smiled a little more before he spoke in a snarky tone. Ah yes, the hoodie that I used when I was going through my beating people with hammers phase. Good times. He chuckled again at the mention of cannon rocket and how he'll kill you if you don't copy and paste the comment 15 times before your bedtime. Wow. Didn't realize he was such a brutal guy. I mean, murdering people just for not copy and pasting a comment. He was smiling still, an amused and cheeky smile on his face. He was clearly enjoying this. Ah, I see. So Cannon Rocket will give you a slow and very painful death if you wake up and he's in your room. Gotcha. He started laughing once you began to mention Grapple. Then, when you called him so fucking ugly, he only laughed harder. Oh my god, you're calling him fucking ugly? And you fucking hate him? Ah, you're so mean to him, goddamn. He continued laughing. It had been a long time since he had written that, and reading through it all again now was genuinely hilarious. Oh man, I forgot how funny some of the nonsense was 10 years ago. It just gets better and better, goddamn. He stopped laughing for a moment and he suddenly looked a little dumbfounded. The crucified, What walloper? He looked more dumbfounded than he did before. The crucified Goomy Walloper? There was a pause for a moment. Then he suddenly began to laugh again. Jesus, I completely forgot that one. Once again, he was hit with total dumbassery. The expression on his face was just absolutely dumbfounded as he sat there for a moment, trying to process what you just said. My dad's Andrew Tate phase? His expression didn't change, he just looked even more dumbfounded than before. He actually fell for Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate of all people?
Silly churl, Billy churl, silly Billy, hilly churl. Woo!
He was just staring at you, mouth agape slightly, looking more and more dumbfounded by the second. Then after a few seconds, he started to burst out laughing again. Ha ha, oh God! He believed in what Andrew Tate. At the mention of that, he was laughing even harder than he was before. He didn't even know why he thought what you said was so funny. but his laughter was so loud that he was practically wheezing as he spoke. Ah, even that! The thing about how sex for pleasure is always gay? Oh my god. He couldn't stop laughing at this point. He was clutching his stomach as he did, and tears of laughter were practically streaming down his face. He was even finding it difficult to speak at this point. Ha 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 ha, oh my god. I mean, yeah, that is a good defense. But, ha ha! He laughed for a few more seconds, but then he slowly began to calm down enough to actually speak again as he started to breathe normally again. I can't believe he actually believed everything that Tate said. His laughing finally died down, and he went back to his normal serious self as you went back to the subject of Church Guy. Oh, right, yeah. We should definitely go check on Church Guy, see what exactly he's up to. The whole memory thingy is a big red flag after all, so yeah. We should look into that.
球球病了，二球球巧，三球球菜要，四球球嗷。Billy churl, Billy churl, silly Billy, hilly churl. Ooh. ヒルチャールのお兄さんが病気になった。ヒルチャールのお兄さんが看病して。첫째 쭈쭈는 아프고 둘째 쭈쭈는 병을 봐주네. 大球球病了，二球球巧，三球球菜要，四球球嗷。Silly churl, Billy churl, silly Billy, hilly churl. Ooh.